You think you know what boxing is, right? You grew up watching Ali, watching Tyson, watching the sweet science, the discipline, the idea that two men enter a ring and the better warrior leaves with his soul intact. You think what we're seeing right now with these YouTubers, with this Disney Channel kid putting on gloves, is just a spectacle, a little sideshow to generate some clicks and sell some energy drinks. You think it's harmless entertainment. But look me in the eye right now, because that is a lie. That is a comforting fairy tale you tell yourself so you can sleep at night without realizing the culture you love is rotting from the inside out. The truth is, it's not a sport anymore. It is a machine designed to harvest your attention and launder humiliation for profit. And what I just witnessed in this studio with Anthony Joshua wasn't an interview. It was a confession from a man who just saw the devil in a pair of Gucci loafers. I'm shaking right now. I've done thousands of these. I've sat across from conspiracy theorists, government defectors, guys who have hunted aliens in the Mojave, but I have never, ever felt a room get as cold as it did an hour ago. Anthony Joshua sat in that chair, right where you're looking, and he didn't look like a champion. He looked like a man who had walked into a trap. He looked like he'd seen the architecture of the Matrix and wished he hadn't. He wasn't trying to sell a fight. He was trying to warn us. He told me something that, if it gets out, if they don't scrub this from the servers before the upload finishes, it destroys everything. It ends the Jake Paul era tonight. We were talking about the heavyweights, right? Just standard stuff. I'm asking him about his training camp, about the mental pressure, and suddenly AJ goes silent. Not the media-trained silence where he's thinking of a PR answer. I mean a silence that sucked the air out of the room. He looks at Jamie, then he looks at me, and his eyes, they were glossy, man, like he was remembering a car crash. He leans in close to the mic. I can still smell the nervous sweat on him, that metallic, acrid smell of pure adrenaline, and he whispers, "Joe, they didn't just ask me to fight him. They asked me to lose." But it wasn't just take a dive. That's old school. That's 1920s mob stuff. This was psychological warfare. He told me about a meeting last Tuesday, a private hangar in Dubai. You know the type. Polished concrete floors, cars worth more than the GDP of a small country sitting in the shadows. He walks in, thinking it's a promoter meeting. But there's no promoter. There's just Jake. And Jake isn't acting like the kid you see on TikTok. He's not doing the problem child shtick. He's dead calm, surgical, sitting at a glass table with a briefcase that looked like it was made out of the skin of endangered species. AJ told me, Joe, he didn't even say hello. He just slid a piece of paper across the table. And on this paper, it wasn't a contract. It was a script, a literal movie script, scene by scene, round by round. Round 1, Joshua slips. Round 2, Joshua takes a knee. It was choreographed down to the second. And then Jake opens the briefcase. And it's not full of cash. It's not full of gold bars. It's full of leverage, hard drives, documents, things that shouldn't exist. AJ said he felt like the floor dropped out from under him. He realized in that moment that this kid isn't a boxer. He's a front. He's the face of an algorithm that has figured out exactly how much dignity a man is willing to sell. And here's the kicker. Here's the part that made the hair on the back of my neck stand up. Jake looks at him, dead in the eye, no emotion, like a shark examining a seal, and says, "You can be the champion of the world, Anthony, or you can be rich, but you can't be both anymore. That time is over." Do you understand what that means? Do you feel the weight of that? This isn't about boxing. This is about the total erosion of reality. If they can script the heavyweight champion of the world like he's a character in a soap opera, what else is scripted? Your news, your elections, your life. AJ told me he stood up to leave, his legs feeling like lead, and Jake just laughed. Not a villain laugh, a dry, hollow sound. And he said, "Go ahead. Tell Rogan. Tell the world. They won't believe you. They want the circus too much." Well, guess what? I'm telling them. I'm telling them right now. Because when AJ left, he forgot one thing on the table here. A USB drive. I haven't plugged it in yet because I'm terrified of what's on it. But he told me, "Joe, if I disappear or if my career suddenly implodes, look at the drive. I'm holding it in my hand right now. It's cold. It feels heavy." He said it contains the proof of the Paul payroll. A list of every referee, every judge, every commission member who is on the take. He described the look in Jake's eyes as empty. He said it was like talking to a shell that had been hollowed out and filled with data. "Joe," he said, "he doesn't care about the belt. He wants to kill the mystique. He wants to prove that everything, even the most sacred warrior tradition we have, has a price tag. And the price offered to Anthony Joshua, it wasn't just money, it was ownership. They wanted to own his likeness. They wanted to own his legacy. They wanted to turn Anthony Joshua into a digital asset they could trade on the blockchain after he retired. They wanted to digitize his soul. I sat there listening to this giant of a man, a guy who has knocked out legends, and he was trembling. He was scared, not of getting hit. He was scared of becoming a product. He said, I looked at that script, Joe, and I saw my own funeral in it. Round 4, knockout. They had the timestamp written down, 1:45 of the 4th round. They had the commentary written down. They already knew what the commentators were going to say. Think about that. They aren't just rigging the fight, they are rigging the reaction. They are rigging your emotions. You screaming at the TV, that's in the script. You posting on Twitter, that's in the model. You are a battery powering their machine, and you don't even know it. AJ refused. He walked out. But as he was leaving that hangar in Dubai, the lights cut out. Pitch black. And he heard Jake's voice over a PA system, echoing in the darkness. Everyone has a price, AJ. We'll just wait until yours drops. That is why he came here. That is why he looked so haunted. He knows they are coming for him. He knows the smear campaign is about to start. He knows that by tomorrow morning there will be headlines calling him washed up, calling him crazy, calling him a liar. That's the machine at work. But you are hearing it here first. You are hearing the raw, unfiltered reality before the sanitizers get to it. The question you have to ask yourself is, are you going to keep watching the puppet show? Are you going to keep feeding the beast? Because I'm telling you, what's on this drive, if it's real, it's not just the end of Jake Paul. It's the end of trust. It proves that we are living in a simulation of a society where honor is just a legacy feature they haven't patched out yet. You think this stops at the ropes? You think this is just about a boxing match and a briefcase full of dirty money? If you think that, you are still asleep. You are still plugged into the pod, floating in the goo, letting them feed you the steak that doesn't exist. What AJ told me in the next hour of that conversation, it wasn't about sports corruption. It was about the systematic dismantling of the human spirit. We took a break, right? We cut the cameras for 5 minutes so he could drink some water because his hands were shaking so bad he couldn't hold the glass. Water was spilling all over the table, and in that darkness, in that quiet studio, he grabbed my wrist. His grip was like a vice, like a man hanging off a cliff. He looked at me and said, Joe, it's not just Jake. Jake isn't even real. Jake is a suit. He's a costume that something else is wearing. That is when the temperature in the room dropped 10 degrees. I'm telling you, I felt the hairs on my arms stand up. AJ started talking about the handlers. He said when he was in that hangar in Dubai, Jake wasn't alone. In the shadows, in the back of the room where the light didn't touch, there were 3 men. They didn't speak. They didn't move. They were wearing suits that looked too perfect, faces that looked too smooth. AJ said they didn't blink. He watched them for 20 minutes, and not one of them blinked. They were just observing, collecting data on his stress response, measuring his heart rate from across the room. He told me about a sparring partner he had. Let's call him Marcus. I can't say his real name because I don't want him to disappear again. This guy was a killer, a savage, 6'4", 250 pounds of pure muscle, moved like a cat. He was supposed to be the next big thing. He went to a camp, one of these influencer training camps, just to make some easy cash sparring the YouTube kids. He came back. Wrong. AJ said he saw Marcus 2 weeks later at a gym in Sheffield. The guy was hitting the heavy bag, but there was no rhythm, no soul. Thud, thud, thud. Just mechanical repetition. AJ went up to him, asked him, hey man, how was it? Did you knock the kid out? And Marcus turned around. AJ said it was the scariest thing he's ever seen in a ring. Marcus's eyes were dead. The pupils were dilated to the size of dinner plates. He looked through AJ, not at him, and he whispered, I saw the script, Ant. We're just pixels. We're just rendering. And then Marcus walked out of the gym, and nobody has seen him since. Gone. Scrubbed from Instagram. Scrubbed from BoxRec. Like he never existed. AJ thinks they broke him. He thinks they used whatever psychological tech they are using on these YouTubers and tested it on Marcus first. They deconstructed his ego and rebuilt him as a drone. This is what I'm trying to get through to you. This isn't about Jake Paul as a bad boxer. This is about a psychological operation designed to humiliate the very concept of mastery. Think about it. Why are they doing this? Why are they paying millions to have a YouTuber beat a legend? It's not just for clicks. It's to send a message to your subconscious. They are telling you that your hard work doesn't matter. They are telling you that discipline, years of sacrifice, waking up at 4 a.m., bleeding in the gym, none of that matters. All that matters is the algorithm. All that matters is the content. They are trying to kill the hero archetype. Because if they can kill the hero, if they can make you believe that a clown can beat a warrior just because the clown has more followers, then they own reality. They own the definition of value. AJ saw this. He saw the blueprint. He told me that in the briefcase, under the script, there was a dossier on him, not on his boxing stats, on his psychology. They had transcripts of his therapy sessions, Joe. Transcripts. How did they get those? They had lists of his deepest insecurities, his fears, the things he dreams about when he has nightmares. And they had mapped out exactly how to exploit each one in the ring. Round 3, the dossier said. Trigger the imposter syndrome. Use the specific taunt regarding redacted. I can't even say what it was. It's too personal, but it was something only his mother would know. Jake was scripted to whisper this specific trauma trigger into AJ's ear during a clinch. Can you imagine the sickness of that? It's not trash talk. It's weaponized psychology. They wanted to induce a panic attack on live global television. They wanted to capture the exact moment a champion's mind breaks in 4K resolution and sell it as an NFT. I was sitting there, listening to this, and I felt sick. Physically ill. I looked at Jamie, and Jamie was pale. He had stopped typing. We were just staring at this man, this gladiator, who was reduced to a trembling mess by the realization that he was fighting a ghost. AJ said, Joe, I realized in that moment that I couldn't win. Even if I knocked him out, I lose, because if I knock him out, they release the deep fakes. They release the manufactured scandals. They have it all ready to go. The cancel button is already pressed. They are just waiting to see if I comply before they lift the finger. And let's go deeper. Let's talk about the system behind the money. AJ mentioned a bank, not a normal bank, a decentralized finance node based in the Cayman Islands that funnels the crypto for these fights. He saw the transfer logs. The money isn't coming from sponsors. It isn't coming from ticket sales. It's coming from betting syndicates that are betting against the public. They pump the narrative. They get the whole world to bet on the real boxer, and then they rig the collapse. It's the biggest wealth transfer in sports history, happening right under your nose. They are shearing the sheep. You are the sheep. You buy the PPV, you place the bet, you argue in the comments, and they are sitting in a bunker laughing at you because they wrote the ending 6 months ago. I asked AJ, why you? Why now? And he looked at the ceiling, trying to hold back tears. He said, because I'm the last one, Joe. I'm the last bridge between the old world and this new digital hell. If they break me, the takeover is complete. Then it's just influencers fighting holograms forever. Do you feel the horror of that? It's the death of truth. It's the death of the meritocracy. We are watching the colonization of human struggle by corporate machines. And the worst part? AJ told me that while he was in that meeting, while he was reading the script where he gets knocked out, he felt tempted. That's the scary part. He said for a split second, he looked at the number at the bottom of the page, 100 million tax-free deposited into an offshore account. And he thought, why not? Why suffer? Why get hit in the head for real when I can just pretend and be set for life? That is the virus. That is the infection. They are weaponizing comfort. They are weaponizing your desire for the easy way out. They are checking to see if the human soul has a buyout clause. And for most people it does. That's why these YouTubers are winning. Not because they can fight, but because everyone around them has already sold out. The referees bought. The judges bought. The commission, they are just rubber stamping the script. AJ told me about the referee for the proposed fight. He saw the name on the list. It's a guy who has been retired for 5 years, a guy who suddenly has a new villa in Tuscany and a brand new yacht. They brought him back specifically for this job. His job isn't to enforce the rules. His job is to facilitate the drama, to step in at the exact moment the algorithm predicts peak engagement. And then, just before we finished part 2 of this conversation, AJ dropped the bomb that made me want to shut down the podcast entirely. He said, Joe, they aren't just scripting the fights, they are scripting the fans. He showed me a document on that USB drive called Project Echo. It's a bot farm, but not like you think. It's AI-driven accounts, millions of them, programmed to gaslight real people. If you post a comment saying, this looks fake, 500 bots swarm you. They ridicule you. They call you a hater. They make you feel crazy. They isolate you until you shut up. They are manufacturing a consensus reality where the fake is real and the real is crazy. You are living in a psyop. The boxing ring is just the testing ground. If they can make you believe Jake Paul is a world champion, they can make you believe anything. They can make you believe up is down, war is peace, and slavery is freedom. AJ stood up, wiped the sweat from his forehead, and said, "I have to go, Joe. I've said too much. If I'm not home by 8 p.m., they initiate the contingency." I tried to stop him. I tried to tell him to stay here, that we have security, but he just shook his head. He looked like a man walking to the gallows. He walked out that door into the Austin heat, and I swear to God, as he walked to his car, I saw a black drone hovering silently above the parking lot. Just watching, just waiting. We are on the edge of the precipice, folks. We are staring into the abyss, and the abyss is wearing boxing gloves and holding a selfie stick. He's gone. AJ is gone. Jamie just checked the security cameras. The feed from the parking lot is looping. It's showing the same 10 seconds over and over again. The black drone, the car pulling away, the heat shimmering off the pavement. It's a loop. They've already hacked our local network. They are scrubbing his exit in real time. Do you understand what is happening? I'm going to keep this short because I don't know how much bandwidth we have left before they pull the plug on this stream. I just plugged in the USB drive he left. I told you I was terrified of it. I was right. It's not documents, it's not videos, it's a program. As soon as it mounted, a window popped up. It's a list, a scrolling list of IP addresses, and I'm looking at them and I see yours. Yeah, you. The person watching this on your phone in the bathroom. The guy watching this on his second monitor at work. The girl scrolling in bed. This Project Echo isn't just bots, it's surveillance. They aren't just scripting the fights, they are profiling the audience. They know who clicked watch. They know who clicked like. They are building a database of who is compliant and who is questioning the narrative. By watching this video, you just put yourself on the list. Anthony Joshua didn't just expose a rigged boxing match. He exposed the fact that the Coliseum never closed. It just went digital. They feed you blood and circuses. Jake Paul, influencers, drama, fake beef, to keep your eyes glued to the screen while they steal your future. They want you distracted. They want you arguing about gloves and weigh-ins while they rewrite the laws of reality. I'm looking at Jamie. He's pulling the Ethernet cables. We're going dark. Listen to me closely. This is the last warning. Do not bet on the fight. Do not watch the fight. Do not engage with the machine. Every second of attention you give them is a vote for your own enslavement. They want to turn the human spirit into a microtransaction. Don't let them. Download this. Screen record this right now. Send it to your group chats. Put it on the dark web. Do not let this die. Because if AJ is right, if the script is already written, then we are all just waiting for the knockout punch. They're knocking on the studio door. I'm not joking. Someone is pounding on the heavy steel door. We didn't order food. We didn't invite guests. It's them.